Hello guys, welcome to a quick recap or a review of weak maps versus maps. So today we'll be talking about what are weak maps and maps in JavaScript. Both of these are ES6 contracts. These are not available in ES5. And we are going to talk about what are weak maps and how they are different from maps. Uh, Weak maps and maps both allow uh, keys to be objects, so they don't have to be strings like object literals in JavaScript. Uh, Keys don't just allow objects, they allow any type. So it can be string, integer, primitive types, or any object, whatever you want as key in a map. For weak maps, you have to use objects as keys. Value can be any type in JavaScript for both maps and weak maps. The main difference between the maps and weak maps are that as soon as keys are garbage collected, because objects are garbage collected in JavaScript, so even as soon as keys are garbage collected, values also become a candidate for garbage collection. This might have performance implications. So if you are keeping a large store of objects as in your maps, as soon as your keys become candidate, they become null, they become candidate for garbage collection. They are no longer available on your weak maps. Maps, although they keep the entry in the map irrespective of whether your keys are garbage related or not. So this might be expensive in terms of memory when you're dealing with large number of objects. As an implication of that, weak maps do not keep track of the keys. Hence, the keys are not iterable. But maps has a function called map.keys, which returns a map of a iterator object after in which you can iterate all the keys because they're always available whether or not the objects are garbage collected. Because of the same implication again, there are no map.size, so you cannot get the full size of a weak map, but you can do that, of course, with map.size property in maps. Here are some quick examples for weak maps. There are three weak maps created, and so you can basically there are four main things that you do. You either get set or you check whether key is present on object key is present or not. These are particularly useful when you have an object-object mapping that you need to create. And So you can get set them and you can set any value to them, including undefined. You can also delete a key value pair and object pair in this case. And you can also check whether it's available or not. Returns has a has property that returns true or false. Coming to the maps, you create a map like this. You new a map and then you set you can set get has delete. It also has size, as I was mentioning before. It has as a clear, and then you can see that it is using an iterator to find out key value pair from a map. Let's talk about a few use cases of maps. So weak maps. So let's declare a weak map, new weak map. Let's create an object where leto is equal to a1. Let's add this object to uh, let's add this object to the map. I can set the value to anything and I'm setting it to 1. Now if I do w1 that has, and I can reference now the object with O, it will return me true. If I try to check any other object or an anonymously created object, it's always going to tell me that it is not present. If I want to get the object, I can of course get the object O, it returns me the value. I can also live change the object, which is pretty cool. So even if I do it 3 and I do go, then you will see that it's there. And if I try to see the weak map entry, it says that your entry is still there. Now when you set your object to null, it basically then dereferences it and removes its value. And if I do a console.log WM1 or try to now get it returns an undefined, or if I try to get sorry if I try to now get my old value, I will no longer will be able to get it. As you can see, the entry is not garbage collected yet, but when it does get garbage collected, you'll not see any entries in the weak map anymore. It will dereference the value. That's a whole point of weak map. Once your key gets garbage collected, we are your value gets garbage collected as well. Now, another very interesting use of weak map is actually in classes, and I will not write. You can create private variables on with the use of weak map. So there's no concept of private variables in JavaScript, and you can create a private variable with the help of weak map. So what it does really is inside the public function, which is the constructor function, it sets this reference of this function along with any private data that you want to have in this object, and it stores it in the private's weak map. Now, why this is done, and the reason for this is that this is going to be an object reference of one particular public uh, instance of or an object when you create of this function constructor. So what you can do is when you do inside any method privates.get this, it will send you the reference. It will find out the reference to the object and get you the value of me, and you can do stuff with me. So this is a very cool example of weak maps. One of the use cases of using weak maps, and it will only be available as long as your public object that you create, instance of this public class that you create, or function constructor, because this is ES5, it will be in memory. Once it's garbage collected, your particular entry in the private set is gone. So this is a very cool example of using weak maps to create private variables. Thank you for watching. See you soon.